Well, that was a game, wasn't it? Bournemouth 0, Chelsea 1, and my God, how did we win that game? 16 yellow cards from Anthony Taylor, a new Premier League record, which is just insane if you watch the game, because that was not a game that deserved 16 yellow cards. Sanchez gave away a penalty, saved a penalty, also played out of his skin and was definitely man of the match, or should have been man of the match. Jaden Sancho with an incredible debut, getting an assist on his debut. He literally changed the game today. Bournemouth are going to feel very hard done by because they played very well. They pressed us well. The first half we were shocking. They hit the bar, they hit the post, obviously had a penalty saved. Bournemouth are going to feel very hard done by. But I suppose the one thing you could say is that was a champion's performance, right? Obviously, we didn't play like champions. I'm not saying that, but they always say a sign of a champion is to play poorly and get results, and that's exactly what Chelsea did today. We got 3 points on the board when we did not deserve to. There are so many talking points about this game. I want to try and pick them apart and break them down without rambling too much, but what a game of two halves. For a Chelsea fan, that was an emotional roller coaster, and we should be applauded as fans for having to watch that, because honestly, what a game. Now, starting off in that first half, our midfield was getting ran through. And yes, Disasi at right back, terrible footballer, especially at right back. I know that he is predominantly a centre back, but Disasi has played right back multiple times last season when we had no available right back. And we know that he can do a job there. Not great, but he can do a job. But last night's performance, oh my God, it was terrible. That guy gave the ball away and was jogging back to go get it again. Like, is this guy okay? There was literally a moment where he kind of like had this weird header back with the attacker on his shoulder, and he kind of takes a second to go, oh, someone will get that, realizes, oh, no one's going to get that, and then goes, oh, I should probably get that. Like, what is going on? This guy was terrible at our build-up play from the back. He was caught out many times. Tavernier had an incredible game because he's a great player, but also because he was up against Disasi. Honestly, in that first half, we couldn't string passes together. We couldn't keep hold of the ball. We were not very confident on the ball. Seeing Viega in midfield was quite refreshing because we know that he can play as a holding midfielder. We know that he can play left back. We know that he inverts very comfortably. I quite liked him in the midfield. There was a lot of people in my TikTok spamming me in the comments saying he was terrible, should never play, should be nowhere near the first team. And I don't know what game you'll watch him, because Viega was very good today for his Premier League debut, in my opinion. Yes, he wasn't perfect, but his physical presence, it was great. And having him in that midfield allowed Caicedo to roam a bit more, play his game. And Caicedo had a fantastic game overall. Again, that pairing in the first half, I'll say the first 20 minutes, they really struggled to get a hold of the game, and we were being ran through by Bournemouth, who were playing very well from the start of the game as the home team, really pressing on that front foot, pressing us high and causing us a lot of issues. Viega and Caicedo in the second half definitely stepped up their game. They got their foot on the ball, they started controlling that midfield. And Enzo Maresca really needs some praise, because he identified the issues with that squad. He makes a change, he resolves it, we go on and win the game. Now, I'm not saying it's all Enzo Maresca, obviously the players have a job to do. But what I really like about Enzo Maresca is when he identifies a problem, he is not scared to change it straight away. He doesn't care. He's like, I'm going to change it, it needs changing. And 9 times out of all, the last 2 games that he's done that, there's been immediate impact and we've got the result we needed. One thing I will say is Cole Palmer playing as a 10 is fantastic. We know that. But in this season, after the amazing performance of last season, teams are going to double up and triple up on Palmer, and that's exactly what happened in that first half. Every time Palmer got the ball, there was 3 Bournemouth players around him, and you could see Palmer was getting very frustrated because he didn't have the space. He had to keep dropping deep to pick the ball up, and we just had no outlet with him. And in that second half, we took Madueke off, who had a very quiet game in the first half. There was a few chances that he had where he was quite selfish with the ball. We know that he likes to keep the ball. We know that. We know that he always wants to make a difference and make a change, and he's been on great form recently in the last few games. But last night, very quiet and quite disappointed with his output in terms of picking the right pass or holding onto the ball too long. Taking him off at half-time. We've pushed Palmer out to that right-hand side, and he got a lot more service. He had a lot more time on the ball. We brought Felix in as that 10, who was relatively quiet, but was really trying to link up play and get involved. Bournemouth did very well in that central area of just blocking off our number 10 role, whether it was Palmer or whether it was Felix. You know, Felix was drifting across that entire final third to try and get involved. He didn't necessarily have a bad game, but he wasn't outstanding. The man of the match, well, who was given man of the match, not my personal man of the match. My personal man of the match was Robert Sanchez because he had an outstanding game. He was not a scarecrow. He didn't have Chris Packett wrists. This guy made so many saves that kept us in the game. Like, without him, we would have lost 4 or 5-0. Like, we just would have. Bournemouth were piling on the pressure. They hit the post. They hit the bar. They had a penalty save, which Sanchez obviously gave the penalty away, which wasn't really his fault. I understand that. It's frustrating when he body checks a player, but he was kind of put in a position where he had to just kind of stand his ground. That Fofana, mate. Fofana. What is going on with Fofana, mate? Like, I understand he's not played a lot of games in the last couple of seasons, but my God, Fofana. He needs to step up because we see glimpses of him being an incredible defender, and then we have performances like last night and you think, what are you doing? That back pass to Sanchez was a hospital ball, and it was proven. Sanchez body checks a player because he couldn't do anything about it, has to give a pen away, gets a yellow card. I mean, to be fair, I'm surprised the Ball Boys didn't get a yellow card. The amount of Anthony Taylor was given out. Horrendous refereeing. But Sanchez makes up for that by saving the penalty and then goes on throughout the game by making incredible saves as and when he is needed. And if Sanchez can keep performing like that, I can see why Enzo Maresca wants Sanchez as the number one, because he showed signs of being a fantastic keeper. To keep a clean sheet, which is something Chelsea haven't done in, I think it was like 19 away games or 19 games in general, whatever it is, we don't keep clean sheets. The fact that we managed to keep a clean sheet against Bournemouth playing this poorly for a large spell of the game, hats off to Sanchez. But moving on to the actual man of the match that Sky Sports give, and the guy that really did change the game, Jaden Sancho. What a breath of fresh air he was coming on that left-hand side. Now, I think Neto and Madueke had very quiet games. They were limited in their service, and Neto specifically was really trying to get involved in the game. He was putting some crosses in. It was a bit of a quiet game for him. I wouldn't say he played bad. I wouldn't say he played amazing. Just a quiet game, and that's going to happen from time to time. Jaden Sancho took the game by the scruff of his neck and was like, I'm just going to have fun and ball out and play with the boys. And that's exactly what he did. Jaden Sancho looked like a player reborn. He came on that pitch and was playing to prove a point. He wanted to prove that I am actually a very talented, very technical winger, and I want a place in this first team. If you were a Man United fan watching that game, you must be gutted, because we saw Jaden Sancho performing at such a high level. Even though he was on the pitch for a half, he ended up earning man of the match. Intricate passing, lucky to not get any more assists than he did because of the link-up play that he had. No one to finish them off, and he was quite unlucky. Looks like he already fits into Enzo Maresca's system seamlessly. So let's hope that Jaden Sancho can continue this type of performance, because in my eyes, he needs to start the next game. I've already mentioned Anthony Taylor a few times, but he really did try and make it the Anthony Taylor show, breaking a record for the amount of yellow cards shown in a Premier League game when the game really didn't warrant it. You look at both sides, you look at some of the tackles. Now, yes, Cucurella was probably lucky to stay on the pitch from some of the challenges he made, but also Cook for Bournemouth was also very lucky to stay on the pitch because of the challenges he was making. But you had players, managers, surprised Ball Boys weren't getting booked at this point, or the fans getting booked for watching the game. This guy was so trigger happy with his yellow cards. It was ridiculous. And I'm not saying this just from a Chelsea point of view. We know Chelsea fans hate Anthony Taylor for a very, very good reason. He has an agenda against us, and that's just me being broad about it. But outside of that, just from the footballing world, football fans, we need to do something about Anthony Taylor, because he is a horrendous referee who drastically drops the refereeing standards alone. But yeah, it was a roller coaster of emotions in that game. For any Chelsea fan, I'm sure their heart rate was skyrocketing through the roof at some points and dropping very low after that goal came in. And Nkunku, with a clinical finish, so good in the box technically, like just to find his own space and put that ball away. Great ball from Jaden Sancho, always looking to beat a man, just looks so exciting, so fresh in that attacking third. For the first time, we had a winger that made Chelsea fans go, oh, something's going to happen here. And I'm just so impressed with his debut against Bournemouth in that half. Like, played outstanding. And Nkunku, I think, deserves more minutes. It's very harsh that he doesn't start. He's a world-class player. He really is awesome. And the fact that he comes on and scores the limited amount of chances that he gets tells me that maybe we should be playing him as a striker. I know a lot of Chelsea fans will say, he's better behind the striker. But again, he gives us another dynamic when he comes on for Jackson. Different type of player, a lot more technical, a lot more clinical. So yeah, we want to see Nkunku play a lot more minutes. One change that Maresca made at halftime, which I feel was going under the radar just a little bit and needs to be highlighted, is moving Fofana to right back, taking Disasi off and bringing in Tosin. Tosin looked like a Rolls-Royce defender last night in that second half. Solid, made interceptions, did the simple things very, very well, always looking to get on the ball and make those simple passes. And he really shored up that defence, gave us a lot of confidence. And when we were building up from the back with Tosin in that back line and Fofana on the right, we played a lot better. And that was actually the key for us putting the pressure back on Bournemouth in that second half. So that needs to be highlighted. I want to see more of Tosin. For a free agent, this guy is Prem proven, tall, wins a lot of duels, good on the ball. I want to see him play more. But overall, clean sheet, 3 points on the board. We did not deserve to win that game, but we will take it. Those are the types of games that you grind out a result, and they're the type of games that will bite you in the bum later on in the season when you go, if only we beaten Bournemouth, if only we didn't take a point here, if only we didn't lose here. Those are the types of games. Now, if you was to look at, say, the Crystal Palace game, where you would say that we deserved to win because of how dominant we were and we just didn't take our chances, and how poor we played against Bournemouth, but we still won, like, I think a win and a draw across those two games is probably pretty fair and equal, but they should have been opposite results. But hey, we take them. 3 points on the board. We move on to the next game, which is away to West Ham. Very, very difficult game with this current Chelsea side, but we've got a lot of work to do. I'm very proud of the boys for getting it over the line. It was a performance where we did not deserve to win, but we still got points on the board, and I'm just so gassed about it because it's been a long time since Chelsea have ground out a result and got points on the board rather than folding like deck chairs. A lot of work to be done, but hey, 3 points are 3 points. But that's all from me. If you did enjoy the video, leave a like. Make sure you subscribe if you are new around here and turn on notifications so you get notified every time I upload a video. If you're not already, follow me on TikTok. It is the link in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.